Okay, so I started the recording. Um, it looks like we we wanted to do more on the ecosystem survey, but I haven't seen anything about that from Erland. Um, and for I posted that we wanted to try and improve our issue tracker. I posted an issue that basically asking like what kind of categories do people want and stuff, but then no one ever replied. So I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Um, and then for raw window handle, Dimitri, it turns out that the GLFW library already supports it. Um, I sent them an issue and they said, "Oh no, we have it covered. It's been done." Uh, let's see. And I added it to Beryllium, and it's in Winit. So now we're just waiting on SDL2, I guess. And actually it we I asked about backporting it to Winit point 19, and Ospial wanted to wait until raw window handle point 3 came out, which I think happened. It did. Uh, so I'll ping them on that. No, they just wanted to. Yeah, I mean it's because it just hands over a little bit of data. There doesn't appear to be any blocker. They just at when I first posted it at the last meeting, raw window handle was about to have a next version, and now that next version's come out, and it looks like it just sort of slipped through the cracks. But we should be able to get that on a patch release of 0.19 fairly easily. Yeah. Um, and well, no one else posted that they wanted to do anything this meeting besides Mizgleth. I'm not sure I'm supposed to say that. Um, okay. Well, you wanted to talk about audio, so take it away. Okay. Could you? I'm not super familiar with SAPA. What would be the difference between, I guess, whatever the current style is and the event loopless API you said? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Um, on Windows, the only thing I've worked with is direct sound, and that's where you lock a buffer and then it just plays out of a ring buffer, and periodically you rewrite into the ring buffer to sort of play it out. Um, so yeah, you'd have to put a callback layer on top of that. I don't know if the newer Windows are similarly where there's like a ring buffer that you fill or anything. Okay. Um, so we also had Ospiel join. Ospiel, were we mentioned that the raw window handle for the Winit point 19, we were hoping that we could get that soon. You said that you'd wanted to wait on the new version of raw window handle, but that's out, so it does work, yes. Okay. Well, good. Then we will have. I don't know if anyone wants to um, volunteer to add that to the SDL2 crate, um, but a lot of people use the SDL2 crate. Uh, Last I heard, it was in kind of a passive maintenance mode, not really being actively developed. So, uh, whatever people want to do there. I do not believe that I will write that contribution to have them support raw window handle. Um, but someone else could totally do it. Um, and I don't know. We ran out of things. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about? Uh, when you say the next release, do you mean in as part of the? Oh, so it'd be part of the 20 line. Okay. It's yeah, it's a big complicated thing. Looks like there's been a whole bunch of changes. So, um, uh, mSkrgleth, does Sapal also work on WASM? Do you know? Okay. Okay. Um, let's see. I'm just putting down some notes about stuff. Okay. So I guess throwing it back to the floor. Did anyone else want to speak about anything? We could. This is very early, but I mean, we could call it early if no one has anything they need to talk about. Okay. Yeah. Um, the work in progress example of the ecosystem overview looks good, but Wodan isn't here, so it makes it a little difficult. If people haven't looked at this PR, it's a draft PR, so I don't know if everyone got like an email about it opening, but everyone please do look at this soon and comment and so forth. Um, basically, they are. It's just like a markdown file with some HTML tables and stuff, and then it we would just add entries, and because it is markdown with a markdown table, it doesn't have any fancy. Oh yes, thank you for that link. It doesn't have any fancy like sorting arrows or anything like some charts do on Wikipedia and stuff, but we would basically just fill in each of these tables with more and more stuff and say like, do they work together and so forth, uh, which is certainly a probably a better way to correlate data than what we currently have. let's see. Do I have permissions to create wiki pages. I don't know if other people have permissions to edit the wiki. Everyone has permissions to submit a PR, of course. So, oh, um, we could do that. I don't see any problem with that. Um, oh, all right. Here, I'll create the first page. That should have a page. I don't know if other people can now add more pages to it now or anything like that. Yeah. Um, I mean, we could. I think I agree with you, Dimitri. I also think that um, just speaking about the current format that it's laid out, the there's a like a little maintenance bar for actively developed or deprecated or whatever. I think that we shouldn't include those labels, and anything that is deprecated should simply automatically be pushed out of the list, perhaps to a separate like additional deprecated entries at the bottom of the page or something. But I don't think that we should try to highlight deprecated material. I think we should focus on either actively developed or like stable and being maintained code as much as possible. So that when people control F and type in the name of the crate, that they can see, oh, here it's in the deprecated section. I shouldn't be using this because a lot of the time people will um, they'll say, "Hey, I'm using this crate right now. Can people tell me about this?" Like people ask about piston window, and then everyone in the game dev channel will say, "Actually, probably you don't want to be using piston window. None of us really use that anymore. You probably want to be using SDL2 or WinIt or for one of these things because they're more, you know." Uh, well, there you go. uh, and I mean, maybe we could put it on a separate page or something, but it is helpful to say these are additional crates in the past. Uh, like it's not that we forgot to include them yet; it's that we've looked at them and they're no longer the hot thing. I think uh, that could partly be because of like the crates that I told them to demo with, which was like GFX HAL and I forget if there was something besides GFX HAL, but I think if we had more crates, it could become more distinct. Um, are we game yet? Does it list compatibility between crates? I don't recall. Because it has a whole bunch of categories and browsing and stuff, but uh, that is helpful feedback. Unfortunately, uh, technically, the charter of the working group says that we're not supposed to be promoting any any libraries over other libraries. So our hands are tied in terms of saying like this is the de facto standard or anything. Um, I would like to agree with you, but we can't. Yeah. I mean, it does get updates and stuff, but uh, I think it's mostly being developed by the Piston guy, but other people aren't using it so that um, like the expertise isn't there. If someone has a problem with Piston Window, the rest of us just sort of shrug our shoulders and say, "I don't know, you use Window. That's how we know how to help." Um, I guess. Oh, so crates.io has downloads over the last 90 days. That might be a metric that we that is sort of unopinionated in a sense, but that would be an indicator of like how much use is this getting in the ecosystem. So maybe say what? Yeah, I think that's probably the most neutral way to still kind of push people and say, look, if you want help, this is how you can get the most help. This is what other people are using. Yeah, I don't know how to counter that one.
Like the project with most intensive CI would get most downloads per day, and if they change a line per day, they would get like the winners on the list. No, I mean any dependent crate would fetch it from crates.io.
I think that actually would help because if you have more people using CI depending on your crate, that is kind of an indicator that your crate is something that can be used reliably.
I think most CI would cache anyway.
I don't have my CIs set up to cache most of the time because that's an extra step. Uh, yeah, it's usually easier to pull from crates.io and build fresh for a lot of things than to try and restore the cached state and then save the state at the end. Um, if you're using shader RC or something huge like that, then you definitely want to cache, but otherwise. Eh. Anyway, this is the part where I have to stop speaking and I will still be on the call and music chat if I must, but someone else can take the lead for the rest of the meeting.